I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
have the approval of the financial report. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Panic, second by Councilman Pacer to approve the financial report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of town board meeting minutes of September 11th, 2023.
Make a motion. Second.
I just say, Steve, you actually, on the financial report, you actually beat the court on money in.
Motion by Councilman Pacer, second by Councilman Deason to approve the minutes of September 11th town board meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the fire department report. Let me read that. This is from Timothy Ekdahl. Your Stafford Volunteer Fire Department answered 19 calls last month. In those calls were many EMS and MVA and fire calls. The department members completed 102 hours of training last month. Included in that training, we worked on wildland search and rescue skills as hunting season approaches. We utilized the Greenway on Mullen Road, and we participated in a larger training at the county park. We also participated in fire prevention activities at Godfrey's Pond last month. We will continue to support fire prevention activities for the Leroy Central School children and Pavilion Central School children during this month of October. Please stay safe. Tim Ekdahl, Fire Chief.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Pacer to approve the fire department report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Code zoning report. Roof on Clinton Street Road, geothermal system on Twing Road.
Yeah.
Yes, it's you. Accessory building on Transit Road, fireplace insert Buckley Road. And a variance at Pro Road Extension. Notes here, several pending but not picked up. Sent all information to attorneys for the Pontillo case, working with Don Mullen on zoning Wednesday nights, working with potential buyers for Kemp Estate, starting the process for the Thompson House. That's code and zoning report. Any questions? Motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Pacer, second by Councilman Schramm to approve the code zoning report of October. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Report from the assessor. Short of reading. This is dated October 9th. I attended the Assessor's annual conference in Saratoga from October 3rd to the 6th to get my allotted 12 hours of annual training credits. Residents are starting to return their exemption renewal applications. So far, it's been a steady flow. With the new income calculations for the limited income senior exemption the state has implemented, it will be interesting to see how many, if any, applications get denied. I have had some phone calls from residents asking if the limited income senior exemption limits have been increased. Unfortunately, the county has not increased the limits yet. The Code Enforcement Department and I continue to work together to close out some outstanding building permits. We've worked our way through 2020 and 2021 and are now working on 2022. And this is a report from the assessor. Any questions? Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Panic, second by Councilman Deese to approve the assessor's report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 7, Resolution 50. Approval of acquisition of an easement by the Monroe County Water Authority pursuant to Section 1096, parenthesis 6A of New York's Public Authorities Law. Whereas the Monroe County Water Authority intends to provide public water service to 6492 East Bethany Road located in the town of Stafford. And whereas the acquisition of the easement is necessary for operation, maintenance, and a future replacement of the water main, which will allow the authority to continue to reliably provide potable water to the area. And whereas the easement is located along the frontage of 6492 East Bethany Leroy Road, tax map number 12.-1.35, which is owned by Lisa Murphy and Brian Yahtzee. And whereas Section 1096 6A of the New York's Public Authorities Law requires the authority to obtain the prior approval of the town board for the above referenced acquisition, now therefore be it resolved that the town hereby approve of the authority's acquisition of the frontage easement located at 6492 East Bethany Leroy Road in accordance with Section 1096 6A of the New York Public Authorities Law, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be provided to the authority. And this concerns the long vacant piece of property at the corner of East Bethany Roy Road and Roanoke Road. I think it's on the southwest corner.
Somebody finally buy that?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, bunch. Got some improvements to it.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Pacer to approve the aforementioned easement. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Okay, Resolution 51, approval of sale of 2019 Ford Chevy Silverado 2500 double cab pickup with plow for $30,300. Whereas the town of Stafford is selling at auction a 2019 Chevy Silverado 2500 double cab pickup with plow. Whereas the truck sold at auction for $30,300. Therefore, the town of Stafford accepts the bid of $30,300 for the 2019 Chevy double cab pickup truck with plow. Any questions, comments?
That's good.
What do you think you paid for the thing?
It was before COVID, so this wasn't much more than that. It's when things are cheap.
I have a question. When he sells things like that, does that go back into his budget? Like you have a budget, right?
Yeah.
Does that go
Yeah.
back into your budget?
Motion to approve this.
Second. How many years did you get out of it?
Oh, 19, so 4.5. We got it early. So actually it's an 18.
Almost 5.
5.
Yeah, 5, right?
Yeah, it's close to 5. It was the start of its 5th season anyway, so.
Yeah.
So maybe about 1,500 a year?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll look that stuff up sometime.
No, you don't
I would guess it's not.
In general.
36, it's a state that wasn't going 36 to 40.
Right.
So probably average, $10,000 or less for 4 or 5 almost 5 years. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Okay, motion by Councilman Easton, second by Councilman Panic to approve the aforementioned resolution. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Now, you kind of push these through so that they go through a dealer to transfer it, or
Auctions International, we do it.
they do the whole smash?
Yep.
What is this? That's right. Okay. Item number 8, Charlotte Mason. All right, there you are.
Hi,
Hi.
I just came tonight, and I live diagonal from the Red Osier restaurant, and I'm not opposed to the music or a restaurant doing that. I sold advertising for over 40 years, and I know how the businesses struggled, and after the pandemic, they're trying to do things to, make some money. I can't close my house up, I don't have air conditioning come summertime. The type of bands that they're playing is Red Creek, Savage Cabbage, which I'm sure you guys all know. It's just obnoxious, you know what I mean, if you're living right there. I did kindly go over and I thought, well, I'll go over and just talk to Steve and say, hey, we're your neighbors, can you think about maybe asking them to turn the volume down? I know you can do different things on amps or the type of music that you play. And he informed me on how many business he owned and what he owned, and that he pays taxes in Stafford and he'll do what he wants to do back there. So because of that, I've just come to maybe have you, and I don't even know how the process goes, as far as considered, and I know there's no noise level, that we look things up as far as the town or the county, as far as having things for volume and noise and that type of thing. But I don't know, I wasn't around here, didn't know when you guys had approved everything, what type of music, if there was anything involved when he had requested to play music back there, or what type of things that he proposed that he was gonna do back there. But it's fairly unsettling for me to be able to not even sit outside or even inside. My living room and everything, bedrooms are in the front of the house. Even if I wanted to, I'd close stuff off, I guess, room air conditioner, whatever. But I don't have central air like a lot of the other houses do around me who can go inside and close it off. when they don't wanna listen to it. So I just, as I said, I understand what he's doing, I get it, it's there. I'm just upset about the volume that they use and what they do over there. And he didn't seem to want to even listen to me about anything.
Was it late?
Pardon me?
Was it late?
They go until 9:30. And it's just the fact that you live there, and it's your, finally, the weekend, you wanna go sit, relax, there's no relaxing. You could say whether you like the music or not, I don't wanna listen to that. I live in the country for a reason. But I understand what he's doing. So sometimes some of his stuff is doable, but a lot of times it is just, I can't imagine someone would wanna listen to that sitting there at that volume. So I tried to talk to him about it, and I don't know what difference it makes how much you own and how much taxes you pay. I mean, I didn't tell him who it doesn't matter whether you have a trailer or you own 10 businesses. That should not have anything to do with what you're worried about what's going on within the community. So that's all I was here, just to kind of voice my opinion for living right there and listening to his Cabbage Savage and loud bands that should be in a beer tent.
We don't have them anymore.
So I don't know what you do about it, or if you do anything about it, or how it works, or if you're even concerned about it.
Well, you're on record as complaining about it. And we can refer this to our code and zoning department.
Pardon me?
I'm zoning.
Oh, you are? Oh, I'm sorry, I stayed
No,
myself,
you're
so.
I'd like to talk.
Okay, so, all right, but that's all I just had to say. As I said, I'm not saying shut it off, don't have it there, or whatever else. And I try to talk to him, and so.
Who's that zoning?
So that's it.
Couple
you.
of questions. Is it only since they have the new outside venue?
Yes. They started the patio, they got permission to play music out there, and they do so.
Who'd they get that from?
Yeah, who'd they ask?
I don't know.
And do they need it?
Well, we've got a fairly recent, probably even worse, where you had Leroy and you had the campground turned concert.
I understand that, and they lost,
they lost
and I
famously.
understand that, but I was just
Yeah.
hoping as, someone that lived in the town and his neighbor and everything else, if he would just consider, does he want me to, every time it's 9:01, to call the cops and say, hey, he's supposed to be
No.
done at 9?
Are
I don't do
Are
that.
there multiple people that have the same concern? They'll make Don's job
Well, my
easier.
daughter lives next door. My cousin lives across the street, but she can go inside with air conditioning. Her son lives the other house right across the street, and he only shared with me. He didn't say too much, but now that he's got a baby, and he even closed the windows, and he wanted to go to bed at 8 o'clock, he's like, gee, that's kind of loud. So, you know what I mean? And I don't talk with my other neighbors. I stay to myself. I don't know what they think. I only do because I'm related to the other ones, but I don't say anything to anybody about anything. I'm only sharing to you my conversation with Steve because I'm here, so you knew that I at least tried to approach him, but I wouldn't have shared that with anybody else either, so. And as again, I'm not asking you to shut it off, I'm just asking you to tone it down.
It's supposed to be off at 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Does he shut it off at 9 o'clock?
Not right at 9.
No.
But when you're aggravated, you're watching the clock. To be honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the nights that it's doable, I don't care. You know what I mean? I can get someplace and, it's not, I can drown it out. But there are a lot of times it's not. So, but that's all.
Okay.
Thank you for your consideration.
I'm here Wednesdays and Thursday nights, 6 to 8.
Okay,
Stop.
okay, I will do so. All right, thank you.
We
Thank
sort
you
of
for
had
your
that
time.
same problem back when we had the carnival, where 4 days of the year, the music was blaring until midnight, but I thought they needed a permit to play the music.
No. No?
You were far away, Andy.
Oh,
We can hear too, no good.
I could tell what station of the radio they were playing. They were
Oh,
so
so
loud.
could I.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
It's true.
We wish we had it back now.
It's their exams, Regents exams.
Guess we won't have to worry about that anymore.
Okay.
Steve Capone's next.
Okay.
Right,
Steve?
yes, sir. My turn? Thank you, council members, for taking the time hearing me. Come to my attention here, well, I'll say in the last 6 or 8 months, that a new, what I'll call it, trucking company has started up in our neighborhood. And my whole reason for being down here tonight, just make sure that the town board is aware of what's going on. Maybe you were, maybe you are not. But it looks to me like it's a trucking company that started with 1 truck, and I'm gonna say back last winter, end of winter, spring, went to 2, now it's 3. And it's in Pete Sheffer's land area, homestead, whatever you wanna call it.
This is Transit Road or
Transit Road, yes, sir.
not Roanoke?
No, right down Transit Road. So it's in Pete Sheffer's, they're using, I guess, what looks like his barns and things like that. The trucks sit there and then they leave at all hours of the day, the night, throughout the week. Just wanted to make sure that the town's aware of that it is, it's a trucking company. It looks like to me, some sort of delivery company. And it maybe would go from 3 trucks, like what it looks like to me right now. Who's to say 6 months it's 4 or 5 trucks. In a year it's 6 or 7, I don't know. But my feeling was, you say something as early as you pretty much know about it. That's what I'm doing here tonight. I let it go for a few months. I did talk to my neighbors about it, and they seemed a little bit more upset. These would be the Muckles, who would be in between myself and Pete's shop, barn, garage, whatever you want to call it. And they, like what they said, they were more concerned or upset than I was. They seemed to hear it more. They're very close to it, you know, as the trucks start up. Sometimes it's 2 in the morning, sometimes 4 or 5 o'clock. I guess that's about it.
Well, we'll again refer you to the Code and Zoning Department.
Absolutely. That's why I wanted to turn around and put a face to it.
I'm too glad you came.
Now, just so everybody knows, I'm here Wednesdays and Thursdays nights, 6 to 8, and then every first and third Saturday, 8 to noon. So we started up these off hours, if you would, just so we can start, you know, servicing the people that work during the day and, you know, have nights and weekends is all. So we've been doing it for about a month and a half, and it's been going well. So I'm here.
Well, if there's anything that I can, any questions you might have for me, I'm certainly willing to answer them the best that I can. And
Is it pickup trucks or semis?
no, these are, what look to me, 24-foot box trailers, box trucks, single axle, 6-wheelers, look like about a 22, 24-foot box delivery truck. I think they have lift gates on the back of them. They look like delivery trucks to me. But they're all of them pretty much the same, maybe similar to a 24-foot Ryder truck. Matter of fact, I think one of them they do lease from Ryder to Carlos or something, I don't know.
You answered one of my questions. I was going to ask if they were ag-based, which then that's kind of tough, because if you're in an ag district, ag-based businesses.
I know nothing about their business.
All right.
I just figured I'd leave that for you.
If they're box trucks, if they're enclosed trucks, do they move a lot of freight in and out of a building?
I don't know.
We
Is the
don't
building
know.
part of
I'm
the
not
business?
that nosy. I'm not gonna get into their business. I'm not gonna go over and keep track of what's going on over there. The only thing that I know is I see the trucks coming and going, all hours, day and night. And
They park in the road with the lights on too, facing traffic.
Yeah, a lot of times, I mean, they back in when they come back to home, if that's what you wanna call it. They'll stop in the road and they'll back in. Now, it doesn't usually matter what traffic's doing, whether it's going north or south or both. They'll stop there and then do their business back in. And traffic just comes to a stop if they feel like it. If not, I mean, cars barrel down that road like crazy sometimes. But getting back to what you said, Ron, does it really matter if it's ag-based, if they,
It does.
it does? Okay,
And
so,
it also matters if.
So if I decide-
If they're
let me just-
using a building, because then they have to get a permit for that building.
well, yeah, you're getting way beyond my pay grade. You'd have to do your own due diligence and whatever you decide to do, that'd be your business. But let me throw a scenario out there. If I decided to sell watermelons or pumpkins, and I bought 6 semis, I would be okay to keep them right there at my house.
It's a farm.
Huh?
It's a farm, yeah.
Well, technically, am I a farm?
Are you producing
Yeah.
the agricultural product? They're just servicing?
Maybe.
Are you a trucking company or an agricultural product person? If it's a maybe, that yes or
Let's say,
no.
okay, let's.
I'm just trying to get to the point where, are you a
Absolutely.
trucking company or are you ag?
Absolutely.
the
So,
question.
let's take that one step farther. Let's do it both ways.
Okay.
Let's say, yes, I am producing them.
Okay,
Now, I'm
then you're a
okay,
farmer, yeah.
Okay.
Then you're a farmer.
and everything's okay.
Mhm.
No, I'm not producing them.
Then you're just a trucking company.
Okay.
Neither.
As far as I can tell, there's nothing being
Don't
farm,
disagree with you.
farm produced over there
Don't
that I
disagree.
can see.
Yeah.
But to give you a good example, if you were raising watermelons and you were selling them out of the field, there's really nothing in the law about that. You can sell your product out of your field.
Well, I think we're getting
The
a,
minute you put up a stand and sell it out of a building, then all of a sudden the law kicks in because you're using a building to do that with.
That
So,
would be commercial.
sometimes it's a
I agree
subtle
with you,
difference.
I think we're getting off base.
I
'cause
think we're
don't
getting a
you're-
little
Yeah.
you're
ways
not
off the beaten
agricultural.
path here.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is what
I think-
looks to me
I think we'll let Don look into
a
that.
logistics
Yeah.
company,
Yeah.
which is actually labeled on the truck.
Yeah,
And I,
yeah. Let's let Don look into that for you and figure out where
Absolutely.
we're at.
sure, I agree. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, yeah. I
Ron,
think
would that be commercial?
we're speculating
I would
until we
think.
find out, so.
But I don't have the zoning law memorized, but yeah. I
I
would
know
think.
when Coward left, they had a year before they had to fight for the labeling of it, because they are commercial.
As far as I can see, there's nothing, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought you were maybe done. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, we get a beef people at 5 o'clock in the morning when they're loading out.
Yeah.
And while you're looking it up, Don, I've had some phone calls on trucks, although ag-based, sitting and running all night right next to somebody's house. So it's a combination of the two. So we gotta look at that too, because
That's an environmental
I owe them
conservation.
an answer.
That's an environmental conservation violation.
Yep. What if they're running just their generator? Because he
If
wasn't
it's
sure.
a generator, it's okay.
All right.
If it's a generator that services the truck, it's okay. If it's the truck itself, it's an environmental conservation violation. Unless it's below 32 degrees, then they can run.
I forgot to ask that when I stopped and saw you the other night, so.
Okay,
So good, thank you.
item number 10 is Water District 12. How's it going? You have some comments about
Yeah,
that?
sure, I'll give you an update on 12. I would say 90% of the mains installed. The two key things they gotta get wrapped up are the throughway bore and the railroad bore. Those are probably gonna take 3-4 weeks total. So the hope is, based on their schedule, that everything's tested, in service, services are installed by the end of the year. And then we're just gonna wait until the spring to get restoration wrapped up. So they'll do as much as they can right now, so you know, Barb, for you, if anybody calls here asking, you know, has a complaint with the driveway over the winter months, you know, please reach out to us, we can notify the contractor. But for the most part, it's gonna be a waiting game until the spring to get things cleaned up, but things are looking very promising.
When are you gonna water up?
The hope, I would say within a month,
Within a month?
yeah.
And people can start hooking up?
Yep. But still gonna get through the throughway first.
I have a question on that, if I could. The hookup, I came to the meeting
Mm-hmm.
that we had, and who actually hooks us up? Does the connection?
So it depends on your timing. If you
Okay,
have-
my pipe is out there, it's all ready.
If you have
They
your-
have not come across under my
If
road.
you have your pipe out and ready, I gotta double check, but typically, the contractor will, but like I said, I need to double check that.
Okay,
Typically, it's how it is. If the
Yeah.
service line's out, the contractor will make the connection. If the contractor beats you to the punch, then your contractor is responsible.
but they've not come across underneath our road, because they gotta come across
Correct.
for us. Okay, cool.
And they will do that, the water authority or whoever you will come across for each individual parcel?
Every parcel that pays the deposit,
Yes,
has an account set up, will get a service line,
will come on the correct side of the road?
regardless of what side of the road you're on.
Yep, okay, thank
Yep.
you very much.
That's all another hand, so, yeah.
What's the next scheduled, plan for adding more, houses to the water system? Is there gonna be more?
We'll discuss that in a few
What
minutes.
is it?
I think we
Well, I
have
know
that.
definitely, but we've
I
been
think
doing
we
it
have
for
that on
20
the
years.
agenda. We'll discuss that next agenda. We'll wrap up 12, and we'll get right to that.
Which happens to be the next item on the
So,
agenda.
that's what it happens to be, so.
I don't know if you guys got a copy of the survey results or not. Did you?
But do we need to talk about this too, Aaron?
Oh, the payment application?
Yeah.
It just needs to get approved, but by the board at some point, yeah. Whether or not they want to do that now or not.
We got bad water.
Why don't we do that as we go?
Yeah.
Of course. So I can share that one with you.
Oh, I got one.
Okay, so, there you go.
Yeah, that just has to get approved.
Yeah, but they didn't purpose it.
Yep, yep.
And those are good, so you guys can pass around and look at it. That's the results of kind of the survey.
Good
This is
man.
much better.
These are the people that
I
actually
figured it's
responded.
Much better.
So,
Is it possible for me to get that?
Another?
yeah, I just, you can pass it over there to what the people want to look at. I don't really care. That's kind of the survey, and
Yep.
that's who
got
actually
more copies
responded
here
to
if
the
anybody
survey.
wants
Well, thank you very much.
Sure.
We've got two, anyone else?
So I don't know if you want to approve that payment at first, or,
Well, yeah,
That's good.
this isn't on your agenda, but we have the contractor's application for payment number
Well,
one.
Mullen Road.
We have a motion to pay that.
My motion. I'll second that. Here's actually what we need.
Get it wrong. They should have laid out a master plan.
Okay, it was
Pay
all-
contractor's
And did what they
application.
could do with the money they get next year. Do more. But don't pick and choose. And they let these guys pick and choose what they wanted to do. They did the same thing with the
okay, so what you have in front of you is, the survey results. Green are responses that they're interested in public water. Red is that they're not interested in public water. The results were outstanding, expecting more results. I know this was sent out, I believe, in the town newsletter, with the survey link. But overall, it's sporadic and enough people in favor, that kind of what we've discussed in the office is to at least get you guys some more information. Do something similar we did for town of Leroy, which is let's develop some cost estimates for essentially every remaining road in the town of Stafford. And that'll get broken up into multiple scenarios. So where Leroy elected essentially to do everything at one time, what I would kind of provide you would be, okay, here's an estimate for a road, but here's, could be options 1 through 10 depending on how we combine the various roadways. And it also, you know, the other factor there is density of the people on the roadways. So obviously, you know, we have a cost per linear foot for water main. The more homes, the better, because it drives the unit cost down. But I think with that data combined with this, it'll give you as a board a little more direction. At which point we may, you know, we can go multiple ways. We can elect to send out another survey with more specifics as to kind of what we anticipate the unit cost to be, or we could host a public informational meeting with the rest of the people. So I think there's a couple different options we can look at. But I think the important thing for you as a board is to get the feedback. You know, this gives you some information, but doesn't tell the whole story, obviously, because it wasn't a great response rate, in my opinion. But
The gray area here is
existing districts.
existing.
I got a call from Horseshoe Lake Road past week. And we tried one before,
Mhm.
didn't we?
Yep.
And I recalled it was either the final survey we do of the actual piece, see if we have 50% of the, is it 50% of the
Yeah.
residents and 50% of the landowners?
Yep.
And that one failed for,
I don't recall if that actually got to the petition phase. Did it, Bob?
I thought it all
Yeah.
stopped when the
don't think so.
government took away their, what do you call it?
Grand one?
The grant money.
I
I
don't-
thought we had started everything and then, because I thought it was gonna be.
No, I think the town got enough, from what I recall, the town got enough feedback at the time, there wasn't enough people in favor to even go to the petition phase. That's from what I
At
recall,
that time, Todd said no,
right?
I don't want
but I
it.
think they've changed their mind. Anybody here represent High Hope Farms?
I don't think they.
If High Hope does it, do they have to run lines to every one of their, trailers that their migrant workers live on?
That would be their responsibility, I think, now.
yeah.
Typically, if it's on the same parcel, they get one service, then they would figure out the rest.
Hey, Eric,
Mm-hmm.
so where does it stand with Bethany for Fargo Road, Sweetland Road, and Clapsaddle?
So, they are reconfiguring their district, because of the impact, same thing that we had for District 12, of the impact of the pricing. So they asked us to kind of slow roll that project initially, find out what the bid results for Stafford 12 are gonna be. Based on that, they've essentially had to reconfigure their project. They are likely going back to a PVC, likely gonna change service providers to Town of Batavia versus Monroe County Water Authority. And they also need to find some additional funds. So they're in the boat of need more money, but also need to reconfigure the project. So we're actually having a conference call with Rural Development this week to find out,
Reconfiguring the project though,
which may or may not include Town of
I've been
Stafford.
told that they might drop Stafford.
Correct.
And if they're gonna drop Stafford, but yet they're gonna come up Fargo Road to grab water.
No, they would not come up.
They wouldn't,
No,
okay.
no. If Stafford gets dropped, it would not go up Fargo Road.
Okay.
So, but that's some more of a factor of where the water's gonna come from, and we're still kind of ironing that out, so. So if it comes from, likely it's gonna come from Route 63 and Batavia Stafford Town Line Road intersection area where there's 2 12-inch lines with the town of Batavia. So that's the likely supply area if it comes from the town of Batavia.
So a couple of things. So it was the 50% of the parcels is what Horseshoe Lake Road failed on.
Except I don't recall.
All right.
I really don't.
Because the person participated in this, and going way back to that initial survey that's done, and they thought it was, that's why they were surprised when I said, well, yeah, it failed for such and such.
I just don't recall
All right.
what the numbers were, how it was. So.
And still, any update on 33, where I thought they were looking at bringing another
supply
So,
more water to bring another main down.
yeah, so they're actually not looking at 33 anymore. They are looking at Griswold. So a little different route, but that's still not finalized. So what we've kind of talked about in the office is, as we're working on these estimates, or not Griswold, sorry, Horseshoe Lake.
Oh, really? They're
Yeah.
talking about Horseshoe,
Yeah.
bringing it down Horseshoe Lake?
Yep. Yep. And then
Now,
down.
is that,
Or would they tie in it on the other end?
So they essentially want to get a bigger supply to the tanks, and then eventually connect to the North Road pump station area. But again, that's not set in stone either, the plan is not final, but what I told the people in the office as we're working through the cost estimates, you know, we gotta have some, you know, if the county happens first, then what does that impact to the town? If the town happens first, then, you know, maybe it's a similar situation that we did for Stafford 12,
Right.
where the county pays for upsizing. So,
now, here's a question. Since it's always a mix between what you gotta pay for and what the feds will pay for, because don't forget, the whole idea of rural development is they're supposed to get potable water to low-income areas. That's why you have an income survey. If that scenario of that main coming through, if we tied that to a town-wide district, would that make a town-wide district more doable?
yes. Yeah, so if the county happened first, so that's very similar to what happened on District 1, right? So District 1,
And that's what I'm thinking.
yeah, District 1 was a county line, and then District 1 essentially involved services along the transmission main, but also a few spurs off of Route 5. So that helped pay for those service lines, or those main extensions. So it'd be the same here. We would anticipate if the county transmission main happens first, you know, those people along there would get wrapped into the bigger district.
And we can develop a project off of that.
Yep.
See, that's what we brought up when we first started this water project 20 years ago or whenever it was. It should have been a town-wide project. Now you got little green spots out on these little roads, they're never gonna get water.
All right, at the time that you did that, rural development wouldn't do a town-wide.
But now, the ones that are left there, most of them ones that got bad water.
We know that, Gary, but at
We
the
know
time,
that.
that we can
But
give, that we give the money.
at the time, you're saying when District 1 came through, why didn't we go town-wide? Because we
Couldn't
couldn't.
get the money.
Yeah, they changed the rules along the path almost 20 years ago. So once we have 12 water districts because they ended up putting a maximum threshold on grant dollars.
How will they run it up the Mullen Road? They gonna run up the Mullen Road someday? Who's gonna pay for it to go buy all the property that we own or the town?
That's to be discussed once we kind of come up with some cost estimates.
See, that's what's gonna be a sticker for the people on that road, is that property there.
We don't know until we run the numbers.
How is that any different than a farmer's field? See, when we first started this, we started at the Roanoke. We wanted to go from Route 5 to Roanoke. USDA wouldn't fund it, so we had to stop.
Break it up.
We had to break it in half.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, even for a little while there, wasn't it where, and especially the towns where all they had was their village, and there was a village system. And then they went to town, USDA would fund it, but if you had already started and had partial districts, they weren't gonna fund it. And now I guess they've gone to where they'll do it with partial districts.
Well, what they're doing now, so before, like I said, there was a threshold on the maximum grant you could receive. Now they're finally realizing, okay, we do 12 districts, we have a stack of paperwork like this for each district. Why don't we just do it once? So that's kind of what the mindset is. That's why you've seen Elba, you've seen Byron, you see Bergen, Leroy's pretty close, Bethany's pretty close. And they're providing bigger grant dollars through what they call federal pooling. So rural development essentially divvies up a basket of money to each state office, rural development. But what they try to do with that is to fund multiple projects. Projects that require more grant dollars, they do federal pooling. So if states don't use their allocation, it goes back to the feds, and New York State's been very successful in trying to get bigger grant dollars. So for example, town of Lima was just awarded a $11.5 million grant and a $20 million loan to do a town-wide project. So again, let's let the numbers kind of dictate. Let's have some conversations with the funding agencies. We didn't think it would get close in Leroy either, but they got a pretty favorable funding package as well. So
They frown on the deadheading, don't they? No,
they do, yeah.
It's
But
not a complete circle.
they do, but with reality is, with most of the surrounding towns having water or are going to have water, there shouldn't be many left. And what they do with those instances, they put automatic flushers on them to keep them fresh.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of the areas, one of the problems is they have pretty good water that are left. South of 5 is where you have more of your concentration of bad water. And I'm looking at ones where I actually reminded the people that we had the survey, and they didn't answer the survey.
Yeah.
Water can be expensive if you've already got a good well. I mean, I've been there about 35 years, and I think I've replaced 2 faucets, and I don't treat the water at all. So.
But on the south side, it is bad around.
Oh, no, I
I mean,
know.
I got softening systems, I got peroxide system, heats my pump up, so. That's why I'm asking, because my pump's getting to the end of its life, and it's like,
Ready for a new one.
what do I do here, right?
No, 'cause people ask about water, and I'll caution them, when we do the smaller districts, if you don't have buy-in from a lot of the residents, because whether they hook up or not, they're gonna have to pay. That very well could slow down getting water to that area, but if you do it town-wide, you can kind of mitigate that across the whole.
Yeah, I understand that, it's just, we're still frustrated because we had water come up Clipnack and water come up Fargo, and that 1.5 miles of Sweetland Road was forgotten, and we did do the survey, and we were forgotten.
The Mullen Road, they don't drink their water down there.
So,
It's terrible.
I'm excited about hearing about a town-wide system, town-wide district, so like, I'm curious to see where it goes.
Myself, I'll be in favor for pushing for that and being ready for if we can take advantage of any opportunities like that, another main coming through.
Yeah, we're gonna shoot for December, having those numbers for you guys. That way you can kind of take a look at them and give you kind of our recommendations as the path forward. There would be a relative sense of urgency. The next really good grant opportunity is gonna be next June, July. And so this one is not rural development, that one's kind of a rolling period. The other one's New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation. But in order to apply for that, you have to have a district formed. So we have to so that's what I'm saying, let's come to you in December. We kind of, let's carve a path forward from there, if it's gonna happen.
So if we have a town-wide, then that increases our possibility of more grant.
It could, yeah. And just, careful with the town-wide term too, because we're not gonna dissolve the other districts. So that kind of confused things, and Leroy, when we said that, they're like, are you? No. So the existing districts are gonna remain. This is really gonna fill out the rest of the town.
Number 14 and final.
Yeah. Yep.
And again, there's probably gonna be some place that's just gonna be.
Yep.
Before we let you go, the forms that I would use to that, do you have them with you? Do I get them from Barb, the water, Monroe County, the forms that I had to
You have to
fill
reach
out?
out to the Monroe County Water Authority.
Okay, so I can't get them from you,
Nope.
can't get them from Barb?
Nope, Monroe County
Okay.
Water Authority.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, next item is the budget. We got to schedule a public hearing.
First of all, I've got to announce that I received the tentative budget on the 28th of September, and you all have a copy.
Can we get a copy of that this year?
Tentative, not
Get the public
preliminary, right?
The public hearing.
Eric, please don't leave.
Why?
No, you're good.
Please stay. Please stay.
Okay,
Hey, Barb, he answered the
No,
part
no,
that I
I
needed him
have
for.
Okay,
I
I'm
can
sorry.
stay, you wanna?
No, we're good.
Sure.
I am.
Eric's a tough guy to get a hold of.
I'll hang on.
I've got his email
Since you
address.
stayed, one more
I'll
question.
hang on.
Is there any possibility that that we should do a mixed strategy of, there's some smaller districts that we might be able to do while we're forming up the,
I'm not gonna exclude any possibility, so I'm open to, like I said, what's gonna be helpful is once we get the estimates together, unit counts, and then we can start mixing and matching, kind of see what makes the most sense.
yeah, and
Yep.
again.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
What I'm thinking of is that there's parts of town for the income survey, you see what houses are put together there, and we'll have a tough time
Yep.
meeting that income survey, so.
In others, you're not.
And others you're not,
Yep.
and when you combine them together, you do well.
Yep.
Right.
Okay,
I'll hang on.
are we done with water? Okay, no further questions. Item number 12 is the budget.
You all have the tentative budget.
And we need to schedule a public hearing, possibly on the 10th of November.
I think we're gonna do it before.
Ed has another suggestion.
Yeah.
We should probably do it in this week or this week before the budget hearing, in case we want to make any changes to that at the public hearing, if we have to. So if we make it on that day, because we're going to adopt the budget on the 13th. So I would suggest this week or this week. Anybody had a problem with any day? What, Barb, you said one of these days we can?
The 25th is planning board meeting,
So the 23rd, 24th is okay?
as far as I know.
Anybody have an objection to the 24th? What time, 6, 7? 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock on the 24th would be the public hearing for the budget. Not good for you.
It's not good for me, but, I mean,
So 24th and 7 o'clock, we have the public hearing.
Making a
let's
motion?
do it.
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Councilman Schram, second by Councilman Pearson, we have the public hearing on the budget. on
24th would be the Tuesday before.
24th of
It'll give
October.
us about 2 weeks in case we want to make some changes or we just got to tweak a couple of things. Yeah, yeah, we have plenty of time after that.
7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got it. October 24th at 7 o'clock will be the public hearing on the budget, correct? Got that right? Motion by whom?
yeah, it was Ed, then Jimmy.
Okay, did I say that? Did you write it down? Okay. Okay. Motion by Councilman Schram, second by Councilman Beeson. We have a public hearing on 24th of October at 7 p.m. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. County information.
That's it, hazard stuff.
Yeah, those were the issues.
This is what we've done now.
Yeah, keep going, it's this one. Keep going.
Water survey results.
Don't
Just FYI.
Yeah, but read the last couple pages, there's recommendation for a resolution or something.
Of the emergency?
Do you participate in this? You're looking at the one guy that has to deal with that, right?
Those are just new communication.
They drive you crazy.
So what are they looking for here? They want us to put our stamp of approval on this information here, or?
Yes.
I think they're looking for a representative, is that what they're looking for?
Thought we filled that out.
Yeah, I thought we did too.
I thought we did that a long time ago. But we can call and double. Because it's usually the supervisor from the highway and
I think we want somebody from fire.
the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the three of us that would get hold of the supervisor to call a state of an emergency. That's,
So it'd have to be you, someone from fire?
and Bob's the one that can call the
Right.
state of
Fire state
emergency.
of emergency, right.
I'll call you first.
Steve's gonna tell you.
Whatever. Something like that. Yeah.
Well, you ain't gonna do much with your Royal International, so.
Head to the lake, and for fresh water.
Yeah, no,
We-
just like
we-
you, I remember,
We can double back on this, get more information, right, Barb?
Yeah, it was brought to my attention, they asked me to bring it up at this meeting, so
Yeah.
if you want to table it.
can we send a copy over to the fire department, Barb?
Yes, I
Do
can.
you have an electronic copy you can
Yes.
send to the chief?
Yep.
He lives in the swamp, wants to get a floodplain done.
If you want me to invite him to the next meeting, next town board meeting, is that it?
We'll give him a call.
You're just gonna in between?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, get him the information in advance,
Oh,
so he
yeah,
knows what he's
yeah.
coming in for, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I didn't know if you wanted to invite him to the next meeting.
I mean, he sits on the emergency services, it's just a double what he does already anyway, so.
They just want you to have a,
They're just looking for a rundown
Have a
of
plan or
data
an
information and stuff to fit in.
so when something happens,
Right.
everybody gets their hands out, and hopefully you get something,
That too,
then you get denied.
yeah, that too.
Spend 4 hours of paperwork and get denied.
So would this be for our purposes to table this? Or not, or is it just read for
Yes,
information?
yeah,
Yeah.
it'd probably be best to table it,
Table
if
it.
that
Bring it
prompts
back.
up to bring it back up.
Yep.
So I make a motion, we table.
I'll second. And we can get more information about, pass it to the fire chief.
Okay, motion by Councilman Panic, second by Councilman Pacer to table the Office of Emergency Management Services information here. Is that okay
Yep.
for the record? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 14, Cathy Worthington.
Couple questions. You said I could see a copy of the budget at the public hearing. I am out of town that week on business, the whole week. So is there a chance I can request that be done on Zoom? Because I'm not available during the day, I am at night. Can that budget hearing be done on Zoom?
We don't do Zoom. But it'll be available, copies will be available after that, Kathy, so if you want to review it, it'll be available to you.
Okay, who's the town budget officer. Bob, I come into the office, I don't know, a week or so ago, and, did you find out how much we're paying the lawyer on that litigation? The new lawyer in September? You
No.
guys hired a new lawyer, but
Yeah.
there was no mention of pay in
No.
that resolution.
We didn't really have that many doors open and not opportunities for us to find attorneys to do what needed to be done. So, but exactly what they're gonna charge, we didn't discuss that.
So we just hire a lawyer and it could cost
Be a
us
standard
500
fee.
an hour
It'd be a
versus?
standard fee what the attorney does, and we have money left over from the budget from our town attorney, so we're gonna be okay with that. So, and he's gonna give us an update every time that it takes a progressive step forward.
Yeah. Do we know when it is going to county court?
It's not going to town court.
No, county court.
We don't know the exact date yet, they have to file.
Oh, right, okay.
Might even be, after the first of the year?
A possibility, but I think there'll be some procedures before the first of the year he talked about. It just depends upon the county schedule also. So as soon as they file and get a response back from the county, we'll know where it goes. And there'll be some back and forth before it ever goes to litigation, obviously. So, and like I think Bob said, they mentioned that you wouldn't get into, it won't go very deeply until after the first year, probably.
Okay, my water question was aired, that was answered. So then my last question, I guess is for all of yous on the town board. On average, how much time do you spend during the month doing town business? Like, I'm obviously running for a seat on the town board. I just want to be able to plan my year next year.
Jimmy doesn't do anything.
All right, I did it on a yearly basis. If you just count when I'm in the town hall, so that would be meetings. I normally stop in on Thursdays, and I'm here anywhere from an hour. It's topped at 3. It's usually between an hour and 2 hours. Then for emails, phone calls, research, things like that, I spend 212 hours a year in the town hall, and I spend 260 hours a year outside of the town hall. Now, if it's, because I did all the meetings with the wind turbines and wrote the wind turbine law that
Yeah, but that was
explodes
that was years ago, like recently, like the last year or so.
You know, a good example, we have to submit to the state a, what is it, a 1 month or a 3 month?
3 months.
3 months, and that fell right on when I was doing the handbook. So that exploded that year.
Right.
So what do you send to you send it to the state?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Time that you spend? So all of yous do that?
Yes.
It's right after you're elected.
Right after you're elected, 3 months.
$7:30 to 9, once a month. It's like a public hearing, it's what a public meeting is.
Yeah, that's a small part.
It's their
Okay,
official
yeah,
ruling.
I'm good.
Okay.
So I would say budget about $400.
Do we have to do a comprehensive plan anytime soon?
Well, it's in the dim distant future, let's put it that way. We have no, to my knowledge, no plans to do it. We probably will, because we haven't done it quite a few years.
But right now, actually, the comprehensive plan has stayed pretty true to what, let's face it, if you look at how the comprehensive plan's set up, most of your development will be on your state highways. 533. If you look at it, that is where it's development. Comprehensive plan doesn't
have us doing anything on 237 or the county roads. So,
The last time we did that, it cost us about $35,000, is that, if you wanna put it in those terms.
So you only do it when you need to.
That's,
when things start coming up and you start looking at the comprehensive plan and it doesn't seem to match what the sentiment of the population is, then you better start organizing a renewal to it.
Whatever come of that letter that you guys mentioned about someone interested in a gas station in Stafford? Whatever come of that letter?
I don't remember who that would have been.
I don't either.
Well, I don't know. It was brought up at a meeting that somebody
Somebody
sent a
might-
letter.
Might have mentioned that you're gonna put a gas station over on the corner, which isn't gonna happen.
Won't happen.
Have we heard anything more on solar people?
No. Guy never even, he was supposed to send me information on what company he was from, never did. So I don't have a number to call,
Good.
so.
Good enough.
Isn't there an issue with panels right now? Shortage of panels?
Which come from China, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, just throwing that in.
All right.
Yes.
Question, what's the town policy on the use of Jake brakes in the hamlet?
I don't think we have a policy.
Maybe we should. These guys roaring through here at 7 o'clock in the morning are just rattling windows and dishes off the shelves.
You don't have to have an alarm clock.
And it's sooner
You're
than
awake.
some days.
Actually,
Well, that was-
somewhere around 2002, because it's before I was on the board, Gary Call raised that issue about passing something,
Totally
and
unenforceable.
it died.
It's unenforceable. The State Department of Transportation won't enforce it. There's no way to decibel do it. You can put a sign up, but it's unenforceable.
Really?
I think that's what it died for.
Yeah. I actually have a lot of them.
system of the truck.
Well, it's, you have to have a measurable, you have to have a measurable way of doing it. It has to be case law and everything else. No one's ever done it. And DOT won't do anything about it. So,
Oh, that's not fair.
I'm just telling you. I don't disagree with you.
All right? What do you got, Steve?
Nothing. All good. So I guess we just get our guns.
All good. We have a budget issue about, we should talk about salary. That some of these contacts reports about. We discussed that.
Yeah, then you go,
We do
bump,
that
bump,
executive
bump,
session,
bump,
executive
bump, bump.
session for about 3 minutes, or we want to just wait till the public.
Why don't you pay the bills
And once we pay the bills, we can do that. So
Get
just
the-
have to reset. That's about how we're gonna solve it.
Where do you
It's a
live,
pain
Iowa?
issue. It's,
No.
I do have,
Joker's coming.
Good.
5 or 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning.
I have one more question, since I'm not gonna be here for that budget hearing. If I have questions,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm still working on Christmas trees. I hit a snag, so I haven't given it up. I'm going to keep looking for a new source,
Okay.
Now, this is separate from the garden club Christmas tree.
separate.
All right.
Okay.
if I had questions regarding the budget, can I email them to everyone? Could I email them and just share the questions for the budget hearing?
At the budget hearing?
Yeah, email them to you before and just answer them at the budget hearing?
Yeah. You want to send an email out with previous questions? We can bring it up at the budget.
Sure.
Cool, thank you.
Okay. Nobody has anything to do, we will pay the bills.
I make a motion to pay general fund number 10 for $22,871.56. That is taking away $60.05 for Terry made for charges for gas, when it's only supposed to be for mileage.
Okay. Give me the numbers again, please. I have the wrong figures in there.
$22,871.56.
$871.56.
Okay, will you take them away?
$60.05 for gas. We're already paying our mileage.
Oh, you got a gas receipt?
Oh, yeah, 2 of them.
Okay.
So, general fund 1022, 871.56, right?
Can't blame her for trying.
22,871.56.
Okay. That's your motion, second?
Good catch, Tim.
Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Tracy, to pay general fund abstract number 10 for 22,871.56. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Make a motion to pay highway number 10 for $11,562.30.
Second? And it died again, huh?
We're down to scraps.
Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Panic, to pay highway abstract number 10 for $11,562.30. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Now hang on, this is the big one. Make a motion to pay capital projects number 10, which is $1,656,622.88.
Steak tonight for Eric.
Huh?
Steak tonight for Eric. We're gonna pay the bill.
There's
Not coming to me.
Casino, here we go.
Now, do we have that money in our accounts right now? or?
Comes from the fund. The water bill.
Buy your winning ticket, yeah? God help the person who wins that.
All right.
I think,
It gets transferred.
1.8.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's close. It'll be 0 pretty much when we're done.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the budget.
You
You done?
Just waiting for your second.
I'm sorry, a second. I'll second the big ones. Jimmy questions $50, he doesn't care about $1.8 million.
Motion by Councilman Deason, to pay capital projects number 10, any amount of $1,656,622.88. Second by Councilman Schroeder. All in favor, say
We're on the
aye.
hook, but. Aye.
Opposed?
That's a big number.
I have only one question for Eric. In the scenarios that we get in December, let's say we're gonna play some scenarios, and we work out to choose maybe 1 or 2 scenarios, do we do a survey again within those scenarios? We'll have to do a survey, obviously, right, with residents? So if it's not all inclusive, let's say, of a certain area we decide to take, or this is gonna work out, whatever, we still have to do that 50%.
So there's, when you say survey, there's 2 things.
Right.
So I view as a survey is, you as a town board wants information.
Right.
So to me, that's a survey. That's
Okay.
That's either another survey like this.
Right.
Or like I said, you have an informational meeting, you guys get feedback.
Right.
That helps you
Yeah,
carve the direction.
okay,
Ultimately, if you guys decide we're gonna do 1 district or 2 or
Right.
1 now and then 3 later, then you have to decide how you're going to
give that information.
do how you do the legal formation of that district.
Okay,
So then it's 1 of 2 things. The town has historically done legal petitions, which everybody on the petition gets a signature.
Right.
You sign, it's a yes vote. You don't sign, it's a no vote.
okay,
Or it's an avenue like Town of Leroy just did, where they form the district subject to permissive referendum. So they do a board action. People have 30 days essentially to challenge your decision
right.
and force a vote.
Okay.
So that's really the final,
Right.
you know, whether or not they want it or not.
right.
But the initial stuff to me is, or you as a board, you gotta decide
How we wanna do this.
how you wanna carve it out, so.
Actually, that's a good buzzword, because the question I asked earlier, it got past the survey stage, and at the time, I think we were getting residents to volunteer that were really interested in water to do a survey. And now we're doing the online one, but it never got to the petition stage
Yeah, I didn't think it
for
did, but-
Horseshoe Lake. All right, no. That's a good way to break it up.
Yep.
I'll start using those terms.
Yep.
Thanks.
Because we call it an income survey.
Yes.
But it's.
That's another kind of survey. That's trying to get more grant dollars,
Right.
so,
Yes.
yep.
So I'm thinking we have to push, still have to push that Fargo, Sweetland, Westcott, south of 5.
Those tie-ins, really.
Try to get that side is obviously the worst.
They're all easy with the exception of Fargo.
Is there, like, booster pumps they can use if they're,
Nope, we had determined Monroe County Water Authority back in 2016 basically said it's not feasible without something happening within another pressure zone.
All the way down.
Correct.
Booster pumps were never brought up with them.
Yes, they were.
Not in those emails.
Yes, they were. They will not provide it. So, they were brought up numerous times with the Monroe County Water Authority.
could that be fed from Clap Saddle?
That would be really the only way, is if,
Our side of Clap Saddle?
because if Bethany builds, so when Bethany fills it out, they're gonna have another tank zone, okay? So Clap Saddle will be underneath that new hydraulic grade, which that could be a connection point for Fargo.
But currently, even if you came off of Batavia, you couldn't supply Clap Saddle and Fargo.
The issue with Batavia currently, it's just a pump station, there's no tank.
Okay.
So Monroe County Water Authority, and I don't blame them, they don't do exceptions. Okay, because you do one exception, people are gonna remember that. Okay, so their rule of thumb is they don't allow booster stations like Town of Batavia has. So that station near the old 84 lumber. So that runs on variable speed drives. So that essentially just maintains the pressure in that district. But the issue with that is that pump station goes down, you have no water pressure. Okay, so Monroe County Water Authority is pretty strict on, or they are very strict. If you do a booster station like that, it has to supply a tank. Therefore, if the pump station goes down, you have a emergency supply
A tank.
for them to make a repair. So Bethany's project will entail a pump station to feed one tank, and then another pump station to feed another tank. So they're gonna have 2 tanks, 2 pump stations to supply that area.
So that was looked at 10 years ago, going down Fargo, looping over Clap Saddle over to 63.
Yep.
And the issue that we were told was the hydrant capacity.
There's no fire protection with that as well.
So we didn't meet the 500 gallon per minute thing.
Yep, no fire protection and no storage.
So that was looked at.
Yep, yep.
The fire protection part of it is an absolute must to make it happen.
The water authorities, every time we do a district, we have to show them we're gonna get at least 500 gallons a minute.
So why is it 500 gallons a minute? It's a high hazard zone?
500 is the bare minimum.
'Cause I read that there's a 250 gallon per minute for a non-hazard zone and 500 for a hazard zone.
Call Monroe County Water Authority. Like I said, it's all, but bare minimum stick with 500 gallons a minute.
Well, I wouldn't expect them to know the hazard zones is a different reason.
But they're gonna know what they require. They're not gonna care about hazard zones, they're not gonna care about, they're gonna care, here's what our code says. And if it's
Okay.
500 gallons a minimum, regardless of what zone, that's what they're gonna care about. I wish I had a better, it just,
Okay.
you're in a spot that, you know, you're not gonna get the required pressures and they're not gonna allow it. It's just, it's unfortunate, but like I said, we've tried every avenue. And we did talk to them about, you know, an individual booster pump for your house, but the issue is fire protection then. So we don't meet all the requirements.
Well, the other part of that, and I don't want to bring this up, but I will, the wrong elevations were used at some point during the determination.
You provided elevations at one point too, and they were shown to be
But the original ones you used were 995 feet.
Okay.
which was wrong.
Okay, but then you provided more data,
I did.
and it's still shown that it cannot be done.
Within 4 to 6 feet, we're at.
It is.
And then I bring up, how did we get here? Because someone made a mistake. Would the system been designed any differently if you had the right elevation?
You still can't provide it.
If you look at those emails, if the
I
elevation
understand that.
was,
What's the elevation of your property?
if the elevation was
970.
970,
You're higher than 970.
you said they could do 970.
I said they could do 970.
Right. We're
You are
980.
976.
We're 980 at the road level.
Mm-hmm.
You said pressures are determined at the pit, meter pit. Where's that?
They need to determine the pressure of your household. They also need to pressure a lot of variables. So they're going to want to make sure a household has 35 pounds of pressure, essentially at the highest point in the house. So they don't care if your house is, if it's coming in 10 feet lower in your house. You got a 2-story house. They don't want that phone call from that resident saying, "I can't flush my toilet." That's what they want to avoid, all those instances. Okay, so unfortunately, it's just data. Yes, originally we had some wrong data because it was not. We don't go out and physically do a topographical survey of the entire district. It's done based on USGS mapping. You went out and got survey information, but still showed that we had 990s in areas, 980s, and your home was higher than the threshold.
My home was, what, 968? What did I say?
Your house was 976.
976. So to be within a few feet of the required level,
Mm-hmm.
and I still have to wonder when that system was designed, using 995 feet as the threshold to cross, if there would have been a change in the design if it was 980. That's okay, I don't expect an answer.
You still can't do it. It's just not feasible.
If you had built the system to
We
accommodate...
wouldn't have built the system because we weren't going past that high point.
Which high point?
Where the last hydrant is. We were not designing past that high point because fire protection was not going to be possible. Okay?
The last high point being the...
Wherever that last hydrant is. I don't know what house number it is. I apologize. I don't know the SBL number. The last hydrant is where it stopped because based on the modeling we did at the time, you need to maintain 500 gallons per minute at 20-pound residual pressure. Okay? You go past that and you open a hydrant up. So this is what you got to look at. You go past that and you put a hydrant further down the line. You open that at 500 gallons a minute. The fire department's not going to go back up to the high point and go, "We got 20 here?" They're going to look at their truck and go, "I got 20-pound residual at my truck." They're not going to give a crap what's at that high point. So what happens at those high points is that pressure goes down to potentially nothing and you collapse mains. So you can't get past that high point from a fire protection standpoint. That's why the system stopped there.
As it was designed?
As it was designed.
Okay.
Yep.
So it could have been designed to go further?
No, it couldn't, because you cannot meet fire protection.
Okay.
It could not have gone further. It stopped there on purpose because of the elevations and fire protection.
So if the water level in the tank was higher, that wouldn't accomplish the same thing?
The water level can be higher, but the Monterey County Water Authority is going to look at what's their low point in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
Tank, the water's not always up here. The water goes up and down throughout the day.
Right, so
They're going to look at their low elevation, which at the time we sent them an email, it was 1051. That's their low point. That's what you got to design around. 1051. You can't design around 1060, 1070. It's 1051 because that's the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario for them is the pump station's off, tank's at the low level, we get a fire.
What pump station?
North Road Pump Station that supplies the tanks.
Okay.
These tanks, they're at 1050 up here, right?
They're... No, they're... They're higher than that. Their low elevation was 1070, or 1051. I don't remember offhand, Bob. It might be 10, I don't remember offhand, but it doesn't.
I think we beat this old horse to death here. But a lot of good information has come out here. I think anyway, it's worthwhile information. Every once in a while, somebody at this table gets asked one of these questions and maybe.
And stop there because of fire protection. That's why I
Maybe
stopped.
we can come up with an answer for them.
Yep.
Well, if you're gonna do surveys, you gotta come up with a better way of doing it. The people I talked to weren't even aware there was a newsletter. So if you don't go door to door or something, it's gonna be pointless.
No, then the next avenue could be a letter mailed out to each household, right? You go that route.
Newsletter was. It went to each house.
Did it?
It was on the newsletter.
I know, I brought
Everyone
it.
got one.
Yeah, but
People
we have
claim
to,
they
we
never
have
even got
to,
it. They've never gotten a newsletter.
all right.
So who knows?
To the best
They
you
were
can.
mailed.
You get the preliminary
Well, you gotta do
information,
better than
preliminary
that.
information
Well,
says
so they
it's
did
It's
worth.
on the website too. You can access it on the website, you can read the newsletter.
Yeah,
So, I mean, if we send it to every household, what more can we do? What's the difference of a letter or a household?
when
Some
we did an
elderly
income
people.
survey, we went door to door because people weren't responding. That's the only way you're gonna get it. Even a phone call's not gonna work, because people don't use landlines, cell phones aren't on. If it ain't door to door, it's pointless.
Okay.
And that's what we invest in after we get a preliminary survey.
That's kind of what this was, just kind of a preliminary idea that we go for.
It was free.
All right, now we're gonna adjourn the regular meeting. At this time, we go into executive session. Is that the game plan?
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, everyone.
Get that information.
Yes. Make a motion to just go to executive session.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
So,
Aye.
order at your house, is that what it is?
No, I'm 4 feet too high.